ready.
I said I would do my top 10 favorite Clone Trooper armors, so here we are. On the eve of Clone Corner 66, which I have something planned for that, don't worry, we are talking about my top 10 favorite Clone Trooper armors. Now, this has to be something that is A, made into an action figure, so no Blaze Trooper, no Assassin Clone Trooper, nothing like that, unfortunately. Has to be an action figure, and it has to be distinct. So it can't be like a recolor of something else. So that's why you're looking at these two as honorable mentions. Because Captain Fordo, while I love him, is kinda just the Neo armor. And I have another character that I like more as the Neo armor, so he's just kind of an honorable mention. But I still love Captain Fordo's Phase 2 armor. And I also love the Spec Ops, the Covert Ops, I should say, Clone Trooper. But I have another character that's pretty much basically just the standard Phase 2 armor. So it has to be like a distinct helmet. Every single character on the actual top 10 has a completely distinct helmet. That's one of the biggest things. The helmet has to be completely distinct. It's one of the biggest things I had to put on this list. So these guys, now granted, you know, he's kind of different from the Neo helmet, but it wasn't different enough for me to really consider it. And then he's pretty much, you know, he's pretty much the same as the other character on the list. So unfortunately, they just had to be honorable mentions. Well, anyways, number 10 on the list, and this was actually the last one I really decided to put on the list, but I love the Galactic Marine. He's like the Snow Trooper, but he's like this awesome color. He's a clone trooper. I love the armor. I love the pauldrons. Snow Troopers didn't have pauldrons, but he does. I love the look of the Galactic Marine. He just looks more fierce than a Snow Trooper. And I love that. I love how in Revenge of the Sith they really just tied the clones and the stormtroopers together. I loved that. One thing you're going to notice on my list is that I have a very strong bias towards things before the Dave Filoni Clone Wars. There's only one Dave Filoni Clone Wars armor on this list. Only one. So yeah, there's good old Galactic Marine. It's such a cool armor. I wish it was used more. There's only a few different versions and colors of that. There's that one, the white one, the Mace Windu's, and like, you know, a couple different color variants of the normal one. So there's that. The number 9, it's kind of surprising he's this low, but he's the only Filoni armor on the list. I guess Phase 1.5 ARC Trooper, the experimental Phase 2. I love the mix of Phase 1 and Phase 2 for the helmet. And I like the ARC Trooper gear. I love the pouches. I love the backpack. Kind of reminds me of a Sand Trooper. It's just such a cool armor design. Of course, Havoc is my favorite version of it. I like the added armor. This figure doesn't really represent it too well. But the Phase 1.5 experimental ARC Trooper has all this added armor. Oop. And I really do like that additional armor. I think the figure is pretty well representative of the 1.5, even though the helmet isn't super accurate and faithful to the actual, I guess, sculpt from the show, the actual design. But still, it's a good representation. This is based off of concept art, so it's not fully accurate. But still, I really liked the I loved the element of the ARC Troopers getting the Phase 2 armor before all the others. I just liked that in universe. Anyways, next up is something that's kind of like an ARC Trooper, but not really. It is the heavy sort of, you know, Clone Trooper armor. Bakara, of course, has this armor, but also this blue Coruscant Commander has this armor. I kind of consider him 501st just because, hey, you know, 501st are on Coruscant, he's blue, kind of has 501st looking markings, but he's not really designated to be 501st. So it's kind of like my unofficial little headcanon for that. But yeah, I love this armor. I love the blue. I love the additions to the helmet, the added armor, the antenna, the bulkiness. I love the shoulder strap and pauldron. It's just a great looking armor. I wish this was used more too. I'm happy Bakara is finally showing up in the new season of Clone Wars. So hey, that's a really sweet armor. Next up, this was actually one I kind of thought about last, but I was just thinking, you know what? I just love the Clone Scout Trooper. That's kind of what Wikipedia calls it, so that's what I'm going with. They call it the Clone Scout Trooper. And I think I dig that name. It's also kind of called the BARC Trooper, or just the Kashyyyk 41st Elite. But I love this armor. Now, granted, this figure, you can see, they made him short. I don't know why. But I love the kind of subtle differences between the clone and the Imperial Scout Troopers, especially with the helmet proportion. I love the additional armor that the clone kind of has. But then again, it's pretty similar. He doesn't have the gun on the ankle because he's not a biker scout. He doesn't need it on his ankle there. But I just love this, how it's so similar yet so different in the camo. Come on. Freaking camo, man. Oh my gosh. Look at that. I gotta love it. So there's that one. The next up, I just kind of thought of what's probably my favorite version of the Republic Commando armor. And I'm just going to go with Boss, because he's probably one of my favorite characters. So yeah, Boss is really sweet. And I love the Republic Commando armor. This was a little commando pistol custom made by Orange Peace. Thank you, my man. I haven't talked to you in a while. I hope you're okay. But yeah, there is the Republic Commando armor. Of course, this has to be one of my favorites. If Hot Toys decided to make all the Republic Commandos and they sold them in a big set for like $1,000, I would actually consider it. I'm not even joking. Especially if they had light-up helmets. I'm not even joking. I would actually consider it. But the Commando armors are so unique, so sweet. I love the helmet. The helmet is so badass. It's like a streamlined Phase 1. It's like a mix of a Phase 1, and they didn't exist then. But it has like the Phase 1 elements, but also kind of looks like a First Order Stormtrooper with the streamlinedness to it. Kind of gives me those vibes. But then again, this design was made long before the First Order Stormtrooper design. But I still love this. I love this armor. I want more of it. I'm happy they finally put it in the new Battlefront game just so it has more exposure, even though I don't play the new Battlefront game. So yeah, there's the Commando armor. And then I think that puts us in the top 5. What? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yeah, so top 5. And number 5, the only Phase 1 on the list. I gotta give it to the Phase 1 ARC Trooper. Nothing can beat the classic. This can also go with Captain Fordo and all them, but the blue one. The blue one's my boy. This is the action figure interpretation with a little bit more detail and, extra bulk to the armor and extra pouches and things. But in the cartoon, it was actually pretty simplistic with the pauldron and everything. But yeah, I love the gun. It's pretty much just the definitive version of the Phase 1 to me. I feel like an ARC Trooper looks cooler in Phase 1 than Phase 2. But I feel like every other Trooper looks cooler in Phase 2 than Phase 1. I'm definitely biased because Captain Fordo and the Monolith 10 and all them, they're just some of the coolest clones. But yeah, I love the Phase 1 ARC Trooper armor. It's so great. I love that armor. Next up, this is where I kind of stopped thinking of what to put. And, this is where I kind of stopped with what to put with the order. Next up, I think I gotta put... next up, number 4, it's the Airborne. I love the Airborne. It's such a cool armor. I love it. I love the helmet design. I'm so happy they reused it for the Purge Trooper in Jedi Fallen Order in the, I think, Vader comics. I didn't get the Black Series Purge Trooper, unfortunately, but I hope I can get the inevitable Airborne repaint. I just, look at it, man. I love it. I'm so happy I have the Sideshow. I know they're coming out with the Hot Toys, but the Sideshow is good enough. I don't need a freaking Hot Toys. But yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I love the pouches. I love the little ammo on the shoulder there. I love the little satchel and everything. It's such a cool armor. He looks like a medic. He looks like a field support. He looks so tactical. That's why I love the Airborne. I just love the Airborne. Next up, I got to give it to this. This is why the Fordo wasn't on the list. Because I love the Neo design, right? I love the Neo helmet and everything, but my favorite version goes to the yellow BARC Trooper. I mean, look at it. It's so cool. You don't see a lot of yellow clones. What yellow clones are there besides the Phase 1 Commander? I mean, the 327th are mustard yellow. I'm just trying to think. Clone pilots, they have a little bit of yellow on them. The Phase 1s. Pretty much after Phase 1, you don't really see a lot of yellow. So a yellow BARC Trooper is really sweet. The yellow is a huge part for me. But also the helmet. I love the Neo helmet. It's so cool looking. It's so intimidating. It's very Stormtrooper-y. Very Stormtrooper-y looking helmet. Like, you see this and you think, yeah, that's the precursor of the Stormtrooper right there. and I love that. So definitely the BARC Trooper. I love the BARC Trooper. The next up, if you watched my favorite characters list, he was number 10 on that. And I said it was largely just because of the armor, but he's number 2 for the armor for me. This is kind of the standard Phase 2. Even though he does have some attachments and things, he has a standard Phase 2 helmet. Commander Gree, man. Freaking Commander Gree. He's awesome. Who doesn't love Commander Gree's armor? The camo? Oh my gosh, the green visor? Commander Gree is such a badass design. I love it. He has some silver elements on him, even though this figure doesn't accurately represent it too much. He has some silver. The camo, come on. Look at the camo. I love the 501st looking markings for the green right there. I love the little attachments and everything. I wonder what's in that pouch. It almost looks like it could be a knife or something. I love that. I mean, I really don't have much else to say besides it's freaking... Look at that. It's beautiful. Commander Gree's armor... Oh, I burped. Commander Gree's armor is amazing. Well, anyways, that leaves our last one. And you may think, oh, I wonder who it's going to be. And you're right. It's Commander Cody. But it's not this armor. No, this is not my favorite armor for Commander Cody. My favorite armor for Commander Cody is the original Tartakovsky armor. So much so, I made a realistic custom of it. And this is what you're looking at. They did make the very unarticulated action figure of it, but I needed to have a realistic interpretation of this armor. And I think I did a pretty good job accurately representing it. So, special features of his armor. He has a little holster right there on his belt. I appreciate that detail. I love the shoulder pads. The shoulder pads, they have little antennas on them, and they're also slightly larger than normal clone shoulder pads. I kind of emphasize that a little bit more on this custom. I love the jetpack, too. Such an awesome jetpack design. And I love the helmet. He has a little antenna there. He has kind of a more subdued visor, but I love the floodlights. The floodlights are so sweet. And you can see how much different this armor is compared to the Revenge of the Sith one. So this is kind of like Cody's phase... Kind of like first Phase 2 armor, and then he just quickly switched to this. I don't know. The original Tartakovsky Clone Wars is considered non-canon, but to me, I don't care. It's my favorite, media from Star Wars. I still love it to death. But yeah, you can see a lot of the differences, especially with the antennas and all that. It's sweet in the jetpacks, too. Tartakovsky's way bigger. But yeah, there we go. There's my favorite clone armor right there. The original Phase 2 Commander Cody from the Tartakovsky series. My custom's actually really good. I'm sorry to toot my own horn there, but I think that's a really accurate representation of the armor. So there we go. Here's my top 10 favorite clone armors. Let me know what your favorite are. Would you have more Dave Filoni Clone Wars stuff on your list? I would have had like Commander Wolf on there, but kind of similar to him. I love Commander Wolf's deco. Some of my favorite decos. I love Commander Wolf. I love all the 212th. I like the 501st stuff. Specific deco-wise, I really like Waxer and Boyle. I think Jesse Kicks and Hardcase look awesome. I love their decos. Denal or Denal or Denal or Donal. I can never remember how to pronounce his name. I like his armor. Fox, I love his armor, but he's kind of... I could have maybe put Fox on here. He'd be an honorable mention. Phase 1 Fox. Phase 2 Fox is too similar to Cody. Just some mentions there. I like Rex's Phase 1-2 amalgamation helmet. I think that's really cool. I like that helmet. That's pretty much it, man. There really isn't too much else to say. I love the 327th Star Corps, too. They'd be an honorable mention. But I think these are my 10 favorites. These are ones that really speak to me, ones I really love, ones I really think are badass. So there we go. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my social media links, P.O. Box address, and frequently asked questions down in the description below. Have a good day, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Adios.